Greetings! Mandaray79 here, and welcome back to another deck profile video for the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game. And now in today's video, the deck profile I'm going to be making one for is a V standard formats, Kagero's Embodiment of Victory, Alif. Alrighty, let's begin. First up, the starting unit. And now, first up, the Grade 0 lineup. For the Grade 0s in this deck, we are playing 1. Grade 0, Lizard Soldier Conroe. The Grade 0, Lizard Soldier Conroe, starting unit. Skill, Auto. When rolled upon, draw a card. Then, if your opponent's Vanguard is Grade 1 or greater, put a Quick Shield ticket into your hand. So for Lizard Soldier Conroe, he's the starting unit of this deck. Like any other starting unit in the V standard format, it features the same skill and activation. When written on top of, you get to draw a card. Then if you're the second to ride to Grade 1, you can add a Quick Shield to your hand, which can serve as a potential 5,000 point shield. And with that, we just about covered the deck's Grade 0 lineup. Next, let's get on with the deck's Grade 1 lineup. And now, for the Grade 1 lineup. For the Grade 1s of this deck, we are playing 4. Grade 1, Embodiment of Armor, Bar. 4. Grade 1, Flame of Hope, Airmo. 3. Grade 1, Dragon Knight, Keyshot. And 3. Grade 1, Lava Flow Dragon. The Grade 1, Embodiment of Armor, Bar. Skill, Auto as a rear guard. When placed, cost, Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 1. If the cost is paid, choose one of your opponent's Grade 2 or less rear guards at the same columns as unit, retire it, and if you have more rear guards than your opponent, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Bar, it's one of the main cards to be played in the Embodiment of Victory Alif deck with its skill. When called, by paying the cost, not only do you get to retire an opponent's rear guard, but as long as the conditions of the skill are met, you can then turn your Bar into a potential 13,000 point attacker for the front row or a 13,000 point booster for the back row. The Grade 1, Flame of Hope Airmo. Skills, first skill, continuous as a rear guard. During the battle, this unit boosted. This unit gets plus 3,000 power. Second skill, Auto as a rear guard. When your opponent's rear guard is retired during your turn, cost, retire this unit. If the cost is paid, draw a card, and countercharge 1. So for Airmo is one of the best cards to play in your Kagero deck. If its skill is the first skill, when boosting, your Airmo then can serve as a potential 11,000 point booster from the back row. Any second skill, in the event that you retire an opponent's rear guard by paying the cost, you can draw more cards and to refund your counterblast for later skills. The Grade 1, Dragon Knight, Keyshot. Skills, first skill, Auto as a rear guard. When placed, cost, Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 1. If the cost is paid, draw a card and choose one of your opponent's back row rear guards and retire it. Second skill, Auto. When rolled upon, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 Grade 3 or greater card from among them, put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. So for Dragon Knight Keyshot, another good card to play in your Kagero decks if its skill is the first skill. When called to the rear guard and paying the cost, not only do you get to draw more cards to restock your hand with, but you can also clear your opponent's field of rear guards by retiring one of them in the back row. Any second skill, when you ride on top of Dragon Knight Keyshot, you have the chance to search the top cards of your deck for a Grade 3 to either ride with or to secure a Grade 3 to make use of in your later game strategy. And the Grade 1, Lava Flow Dragon. Skills, first skill, continuous as a Vanguard or rear guard. During your turn, if you have more rear guards than your opponent, this unit gets plus 5,000 power. And the second skill, Auto as a Vanguard or rear guard. When placed from hand, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 Grade 3 card from among them, put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. And if you put a card into your hand, discard a card from your hand. So for Lava Flow Dragon, another good card to play in your Kagero decks with skills, the first skill. As long as the conditions of the first skill are met, Your Lava Flow then can serve as a potential 13,000 point attacker for the front row or 13,000 point booster for the back row. And the second skill, when ridden or called, you have the chance to check the top cards of your deck for a grade 3 to either ride with or to secure for your upcoming game strategy. And with that, we just about covered the deck's grade 1 lineup. Next, let's get on with the grade 2 lineup. And now, for the grade 2 lineup. For the grade 2s in this deck, we are playing 4. Grade 2, Embodiment of Shield, Lam. 4. Grade 2, Turret Cannon, Dragon. And 3. Grade 2, Break Breath, Dragon. The Grade 2, Turret Cannon, Dragon. Skill, action as a Vanguard or Rear Guard, once per turn. Cost, Counterblast 1 and put a normal unit from your drop zone onto the bottom of your deck. If the cost been paid, choose one of your opponent's grade 2 or less rear guards, retire it, and if your hand has 4 or less cards, draw a card. So for Turret Cannon Dragon, a pretty good card to play in your Kagero decks with its skill. As long as you pay the cost and meet the conditions, not only do you get to restock your deck ever so slightly, you can also wipe out one of your opponent's rear guards and to restock your hand of more cards by drawing. The Grade 2, Break Breath Dragon. Skills, first skill, act auto as a rear guard. At the end of the battle it attacked. If your opponent's rear guard is retired this turn, cost, retire this unit. If the cost is paid, draw a card. Second skill, auto. When rode upon, choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. If you do not retire, draw a card. So for Break Breath Dragon, another good card to play in your Kagero decks with its skills, the first skill, after attacking, as long as the conditions of the first skill are met and you pay the cost, you can draw more cards to restock your hands. And the second skill, when you would ride a new Vanguard on top of a Vanguard Break Breath Dragon, you can choose to either retire an opponent's rear guard or to draw more cards depending on the conditions that were in play when you ride on top of it. And of that, we just about covered the deck's grade 2 lineup. Next, let's get on with the deck's grade 3 lineup. And now, for the grade 3 lineup. For the grade 3s in this deck, we are playing 4. Grade 3, Embodiment of Victory, Alif. And 4. Grade 3, Dauntless Drive Dragon. The Grade 3, Embodiment of Victory, Alif. Skills, first skill, action from the hand. If your Vanguard is Embodiment of Victory, Alif or Embodiment of Shield, Lam. Cost, put an Embodiment of Armor Bar and Embodiment of Spear Tar each from your rear guard into your soul. If the cost been paid, ride this card to stand. Second skill, auto as a Vanguard. When your rear guard of Embodiment in its card name attacks, increase or decrease that unit's power to match up this unit's until end of battle. Third skill, action as a Vanguard once per turn. Cost, Counterblast 3. If the cost been paid, this unit's power gets plus 15,000 and plus 1 critical and plus 1 drive until end of turn. Then, cost, Soul Blast 1, each of Embodiment of Armor Bar and Embodiment of Spear Tar. If the cost been paid, Countercharge 3. So for Embodiment of Victory Alif, he's one of the main grade 3s to ride his deck. His skill is the first skill. In the event you have either a Embodiment of Shield Lam or another copy of Alif on your Vanguard, you can pay the cost to superior ride Embodiment of Victory Ali from your hand to your Vanguard, thus giving you either the chance to ride to grade 3 faster or to get an additional imaginary gift, depending on which circumstance you use to use this first skill for. And the second skill, whenever a rear guard of Embodiment in its card name attacks, you have the chance to match that unit's power with your Vanguard Alif, thus making it easier to give the attacking unit's power a huge advantage to either help you to pressure or finish off your opponent with. And the third skill, by paying the cost, you can increase the power, critical, and drive for your Vanguard Alif. And then, if you have the necessary cards in the soul to pay for the additional cost, you can also pay the cost to refund the counterblast that was used to activate the third skill, thus giving you another chance to use Alif's skill again to increase his power, critical, and drive. The Grade 3, Dauntless Drive Dragon. Skills, first skill, auto as a Vanguard. At the end of the battle, your drive check revealed 2 or more normal units. One of your front row rear guards gets plus 10,000 power until end of turn. Second skill, action as the Vanguard once per turn. At the end of the battle it attacked. If your hand has 4 more cards, cost, discard 3 cards from your hand. If the cost been paid, stand this unit. Third skill, auto. When rolled upon, choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets all of this card's auto abilities other than this ability until end of turn. So for Dauntless Drive Dragon, it's one of the other main grade 3s to ride in this deck. Its skill is the first skill. After attacking as a Vanguard, in the event you reveal 2 or more normal units in your drive check, you can give a front row rear guard plus 10,000 power, giving you another more powerful attacker to work with to help you either to finish or to at least pressure your opponent with. And his second skill, after attacking as a Vanguard, as long as you have the necessary cost to pay for the skill and met the conditions, you can restand your Vanguard for another attack. And the third skill, when you ride a new Vanguard on top of Dauntless Drive Dragon, you can then pass on all of Dauntless Drive Dragon's skills onto the new Vanguard, mainly the first skill to increase a rear guard's power by drive checking normal units, or the second skill to restand your Vanguard after attacking, thus allowing you to use this third skill to combo with your new Vanguard's own skills to give you a multitude of combinations and opportunities to help you pressure or finish off your opponent with. And of that, we just about covered the deck's grade 3 lineup. Next, let's get on with the trigger lineup. And now, for the trigger lineup. For the triggers of this deck, we are playing 4. Grade 0, Angry Horn Dragon, critical trigger. 2. Grade 0, Embodiment of Spear, Tar, critical trigger. 2. Grade 0, Dragon Knight Janat, critical trigger. 2. Grade 0, Wyvern Guard Bari, draw trigger. 2. Grade 0, Toxify Light Dragon, draw trigger. And 4. Grade 3, Dragon Dancer Nastasia, heal trigger. The Grade 0, Dragon Knight Janat, critical trigger, Sentinel. Skill, Continuous Sentinel. You may only have up to 4 cards of Continuous Sentinel in the deck. So for Dragon Knight Janat, he's one of the Sentinels for the Kagero clan's V standard format. Like any other Sentinel, he's a powerful defensive card. For Janat's case, he alone can serve as a potential 30,000 point shield on his own. The Grade 0, Wyvern Guard Bari, draw trigger, Sentinel, perfect guard. Skills, first skill, Continuous Sentinel. You may only have up to 4 cards of Continuous Sentinel in the deck. Second skill, auto. As a guardian, when placed, cost, discard a card from your hand. If the cost is paid, one of your units cannot be hit until end of battle. So for Bari, he's a perfect guard for the Kagero clan's V standard format. Like any other perfect guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When used to guard with and discarding 1 card from your hand, you can block one enemy attack. The Grade 3, Dragon Dancer Nastasia, heal trigger, heal guardian. Skills, first skill, auto. When this unit is put on the guardian circle from hand, if you did not ride a Grade 3 or greater unit during this fight, perform one of the following. First effect, choose one of your Vanguards and it gets plus 10,000 power until end of turn. Second effect, choose one of your opponents and it gets -2 critical until end of battle. Second skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the rear guard from hand, if your damage zone has no cards, put the top card of your deck into the damage zone. So for Nastasia, it's one of the heal guardians for the Kagero clan. And for skills, the first skill, when you would guard with Nastasia before riding to Grade 3, you can activate one of 2 powerful defensive effects. For the first effect, your Vanguard gets plus 10,000 power for the end of the turn until end of turn. So for this first effect, it's a good way to stop your opponent from rushing you too early by attacking you with a large number of attacks during the early phase of the fight. And the second effect, just like the first effect, it's a defensive skill. It can reduce your opponent's attacking unit by 2 criticals, thus making it easier to hold back any heavy damage early in the game from opponents who manage to hit you with high critical attacks early. And the second skill, its skill is used when you call it from hand to rear guard. From hand to rear guard, then if you have no cards in the damage zone, you can place the top card of the deck face up on the damage zone. This way, it's a good counter to use against the opponents who play the damage denial strategy. The damage denial strategy is when your opponents prevent you from using your skills by not making you have any counterblast ready, by not attacking you, giving you no cards in the damage zone. With Nastasha's skill, you can then more or less work around the annoyance of the damage denial strategy, giving you at least one counterblast to work with. And of that, we just about covered the deck's trigger lineup. For the triggers of this deck, we are playing 8 critical triggers, 4 draw triggers, and 4 heal triggers. And of that, that's just about all the time we have for today. First I want to say is, thank you to the viewers watching today's video, and to please stay tuned for more videos I plan to upload again in the near future. And I also hope you all show support by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to my videos and channel. And of that I say, goodbye and see you all soon!